think it's time to blow this scene. Get everybody in the stuff together. Okay, 3, 2, 1, let's jam.
Every time I've eaten mushrooms, legal mushrooms, it's been less exciting than this episode of Cowboy Bebop was, Abe.
I grew up right next to a mushroom farm.
Did you?
Which, if you've ever done that, you cannot eat mushrooms.
Yeah, I believe that. Is it just the smell kills you?
There's a distinctive smell of mushrooms.
Yeah.
I'm probably more sensitive to it than other people who are probably like, what are you talking about? Mushrooms don't have a smell. I don't know. There's something, it's not a crazy smell, but you can tell.
But you notice it.
And it is in sync with shit, because that's how you grow mushrooms. So it smelled like shit at where I grew up. That's another little fact about me.
I've been there. I found it very pleasant.
Yeah.
Your hometown.
I don't think the mushroom farm's there anymore.
That must be why.
Mushroom stocks are down, dude.
I want everyone to know, Abe and Dave and I did a small road trip a few months ago, right? And on the way back, Abe was like, wait a minute, we're going to drive by my old house. We got to go see it. So we all drove to Abe's old house and looked at it. That's all we did. We didn't go in. We just looked at it. There it is.
I thank you for that.
Yeah, it was great.
You guys didn't have to do that.
I know,
and
it was really good.
Requested, and I was like, also, it's going to add like 40 minutes to our time, or whatever.
I was like, I'll see it. Why not?
You're like, all right, no, it's fine. You wanted to see it. And
I wanted to see it.
Was in the back of the car having like a near-death experience.
Yeah, this was very emotional for Abe.
Convulsing.
Abe was like, this is the last time I'm going to see it. I was like, not necessarily. You can drive out there again.
I never will. And it's all the same.
Yeah.
So much has changed.
Yeah. It was a beautiful place. Not entirely unlike the Europa atmosphere of the episode we're going to discuss today.
See you, Space Podboys.
We're seeing each other right now.
Logging in.
Yeah, we are. We're covering many think the wackiest, or one of the 3 wackiest episodes of Cowboy Bebop. Watching it this time, not sure I agree. I actually kind of thought it was more grounded than my memory of it. So I don't know. That's fun. I guess before I get too philosophical about it, I better pilot us through this and ask, what planet is this?
So it's Europa, as you mentioned.
Yes, Europa is the answer. I hope you like that.
Which looks like Texas.
It does.
America's Texas.
Yeah. Before we get too far down the line about Europa, you should know the episode begins with yet another just awful, out of food, out of fuel, Bebop floating through space completely hopelessly is the beginning.
Ed bites the fridge. As if that will give him give her nourishment.
Ed eats or tries to eat a nut, and everyone is extremely jealous of her. In 10 seconds into this episode, everyone's like, you give us that fucking nut, bro.
And of course, Ein gets it.
Ein
gets the cookie, or whatever that thing is.
Apparently, there were emergency rations in a box that Jet had harbored and was very angry that somebody had eaten it. Nobody wants to own up to it. Classic move. I remember a certain time in my family where there was a missing pack of cookies that was treated in just the same way by my father.
Yeah, it's like the Crucible up in here.
We're going to
burn the witch.
No one knew where those cookies were.
By the way, World War II rations, which by this point I think would be like 150 years.
Yes. I mean, yes. Because they are, right? They're MREs, aren't they?
Yeah, that's 150-year-old, which comes into play.
Yes, it does. So, Spike suggests, hey, maybe we should eat Ein finally. It's a pretty upsetting revelation from Spike, but okay. Ein, Faye, Spike, Jet, they're at each other's throats. Nobody's happy. Edward eats a peanut or is caught. The peanut gets eaten by Ein. Everyone feels that's just. right? And at just that moment, they have a collision with a smaller ship. That smaller ship is, by the way, what causes the peanut to go to Ein. So there is a cosmic justice in that. And the ship, they walkie to it like, hey, bro, can you help us? And the ship just backs off and flies away. No acknowledgement whatsoever.
Hit and run.
Yeah, total hit and run. Now, the problem is, of course, that this has hit their ship off course. So they're going to crash on what appears to be the surface of Io. So we were totally wrong. It's not Europa. It's Io. I know. They crash land. Everybody's fine. Jet wants people to look for food, specifically Faye, and Faye's like, I will, but I have a sudden urgent pain, and we learn it was her that stole the rations, and her body is going to...
Although both of their tummies grumble at the end of the scene, so it's possible they all took some.
It's possible. It felt more like she was
but she's
about to
definitely
be
shit herself.
Yeah, about
lucid.
to be rancid. Yeah, for sure. Ein, I'm reading a summary right now, and this makes me laugh. Ein is the one that brings the ration box over, which informs Jet that it's a year past its expiration date.
Yeah, it's
Ein is
because
killing
Ein
it.
is a detective.
Ein is killing it in this episode. Just
Ein
killing
is like, look, motherfuckers, I know.
Yeah,
if
I
I
know
could
a lot.
speak, I would have multitudes to say.
Lots of mysteries would be fucking unraveled here is the point. Anyhow, so, Jet and Spike do their normal, let's fix the ship. Edward is like, hey, I'm going to go out and find food, right? So she goes out with Ein, marching into the desert. The march seems pretty whimsical, even though, let's be honest, kind of a dire beginning to this food search, right? Like, it's pretty blistering hot out there. They kind of wander around for a little bit, and and Edward apparently never runs out of actual calories because she's somersaulting and tumbleweeding and every other thing toward whatever she thinks food is going to emerge, wherever that is.
Never underestimate a good roll. It's a good way of getting around.
I don't think I've rolled on purpose in 20 years. Like I miss it. I miss rolling, Abe.
I miss rolling. Just a roll in the grass.
Rolling's
a roll
nice.
in the sand.
Yeah, it's a kid move. Adults don't even really do it. We don't even remember how good it is. It looked good.
Yeah.
Looked really good. Anyway, meanwhile, they've walked for what seemed like miles. They're about to quit. A ship flies overhead, and it turns out to be the same one that hit them. Okay, so I don't know what the deal with that ship is. I guess it orbited the planet or whatever, but it's the same ship. So they're going to sprint off to find it, and that's kind of the impetus for the rest of the adventure is Edward trying to get to the bottom of the ship and the mushroom salesman that emerges from there.
Mm-hmm.
So
it's almost like the food is a red herring, so to speak.
Yeah, almost. Exactly.
Yeah.
Edward loses track of the ship, even though she runs, for quite some time. And then she notices a watermelon truck. The watermelon salesman, absolutely no compassion whatsoever. Just give me $1,000, only cash, no card. Mm-hmm. And Edward's like...
market price, baby.
Yeah, Edward's like, I'm literally dying. Please, can I have it? He's like, nah. Yeah.
I refuse to give you this MacGuffin.
Yeah. Not only that, who's buying all those watermelons out there, Abe? Nobody. No one's buying that.
The boldest set price of any...
It's incredible.
Craftsman / seller on the planet of Io.
Yeah.
Just like, I'm going to go to where no one is, set prices
impossibly high.
And that's how I'm going to make my nest egg, baby.
Which is hilarious. No doubt that watermelon would have been the most appealing food of all time to Edward. Like, that looked incredible. Mm-hmm. Anyway, just then, a woman who feels like she would be sort of a Pam Grier analog. Is that fair to say?
100% based off Foxy Brown
or
Jackie Brown.
Yeah, she looks
1997 is when Jackie Brown came out, so probably
that makes
Tarantino.
Sense. Right. Which
influenced Watanabe.
Himself sort of borrowing from all those blaxploitation films.
Yeah.
So she shows up, and buys a watermelon, and Edward's like, I'm going to sneak in this lady's hot rod.
Well, I think it's important for the blaxploitation because it could be misconstrued. I think that Watanabe's just like, black people love watermelon, right? And it's
right.
like, no. I think it's specifically nodding to those blaxploitation scenes that often are like, here is what you racist pigs think of me. I'm going to specifically do the reverse. So it's important, I think, that the Foxy Brown character doesn't buy the watermelon because she wants watermelon. She does it is because it's a placeholder for negotiation of information. She is on
she's on a beat.
She's on a beat, and she's like, I need information from this guy, and the guy's like, why don't you buy some watermelon? And it's like, that's fuck right. Motherfucker.
Yes.
Like,
thank you for clarifying that. You're right. That piece of it does matter. I didn't even think about that, and I'm glad you pointed it out.
Yeah.
She's trying also to find this mushroom drug dealer figure, it turns out. That's the first time you get a look at him, because she's got a Polaroid of him. And the guy's name, by the way, is Domino Walker. Incredible name. Love it. Mm-hmm. She doesn't get much out of that. The watermelon guy, not very helpful. So Ed and Ein sneak into her car as she sort of zooms off. So the cops pull her over, and the cops discover the body of Edward and Ein in her trunk as she's trying to explain how she has nothing to do with whatever crimes they're sort of investigating her for. Why did they pull her over? Do you remember that? That part I don't remember. Why did they pull her over?
Cops will be cops.
Yeah, is it that? Yeah. Okay.
It could be. I mean, I think it's speeding. I think she's just speeding is the only probable cause that I noticed.
The cops are looking for this guy too. They ask her, do you know anything about it? She's like, no, but then they search her trunk and find Ein and Edward, which means they sort of, take her downtown for questioning. Ein and Edward, not even like these officers are very concerned about their whereabouts and well-being, and they just scoot off, and like the officers never see her again. Yeah,
which was typical Bebop portrayal of police. It's
of course,
just like as soon as the ledger is balanced, fuck off. It's a job.
Exactly.
I don't care. I'm not here for justice.
Exactly. So Edward runs into town where she sees Domino eating a sandwich. Edward, desperate to get that sandwich, runs up to the man, begging to have a piece of it. He mercilessly flees her rather than giving her any of the sandwich. So through a window, another pursuer sees. This guy also feels like he's from that same genre of blaxploitation.
His name is literally Shaft.
Yes. Thank you, Abe. I'm glad you were the one that said it.
But he's quoting Django, right? Because he's the protagonist that is carrying a coffin around with him everywhere he goes, right?
Or Django's quoting him, because this is earlier.
No, Django, the Western from the 70s.
Forgive me, I have not seen that, Abe.
Yeah. So it's kind of like, if this is I think you should leave. It's a cosmic jumbo. It's like, it's this, he's just doing a throwback to 70s blaxploitation, Western, stuff like that. I think maybe Django could have been 60s. I can't recall.
That's cool.
But yeah.
I learned something today. I love that. Apparently, Shaft's older brother was killed from mushrooms that Domino sold. So this man is not only selfish with sandwiches, also a mushroom murderer. Something's got to be done about him. You know what I mean? So Shaft chases him down in the streets. And like as he's dragging this coffin, I believe this is the point where the coffin gets run over and utterly demolished, very quickly. Which is
isekai. A truck runs over the coffin.
It's a real bummer because what a pro move to have like a walking metaphor. You know what I mean? Like, this is what I'm going to do to you, and it means something. Anyway, this is an episode where the villain gets away inexplicably for a very long time, even though he's clearly very inept, right? Yeah. And so he does get away here. He drops some mushrooms on the ground. Edward, seeing that, thinks maybe this should be eaten, but Ein gets to it first. Ein eats one of these mushrooms.
Yes!
And Ein acts like like a remote control rabbit. Is that fair to say?
Yeah. Just little hippity hoppities.
Yeah. Making hilarious sounds. Genuinely enjoyed that. Clearly, the mushroom is drugs. And Edward says bad mushrooms, and we cut to the eye catch,
which is astute of like
Edward's
where
smart.
has Edward even witnessed mushrooms? Probably the internet.
Well, I don't know that she is saying that it's drugs. She's just saying, are they bad? Like, is it bad mushrooms?
Yeah.
But she does seem to know more than we expect every time. My favorite part of the episode begins after the eye catch, which is when Ed's like, I'm going to confirm whether these are bad mushrooms.
I'm going to do a scientific study on my lab rats roommates.
Yeah. She sets up mushrooms for each of them to take and see what happens to them.
They're so good at it.
It's so funny. I
love how each of them does it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Spike is so good at grabbing a mushroom, slick.
Yeah,
you're like,
happens almost invisibly.
Yes. Yeah. Faye is super blunt, like, oh, look at this. I mean, she's just consuming constantly. And Jet is an open and very transparent, like not telegraphing at all. Oh, look, a mushroom. Does anyone want this? I guess I'll take it. He's all above board.
He does a moral syllogism about it, which makes me laugh a lot.
Yeah.
They all take the mushroom and they begin incredible hallucinations. Spike's is my favorite. Spike imagines himself walking up stairs that are endless stairs, and we see him sort of like one after the other, and we cut to what's happening in real life, and he's just marching in place on the staircase, and it's wonderful. Faye stares down a toilet, which then floods and becomes like an under the ocean fantasy. You know, and apparently she doesn't drown. It seems
beautiful,
kind of peaceful.
Well, it's so many fish.
It is a lot of fish.
It's beautiful.
It is
imagery,
a lot of fish,
to be honest.
Jet, and we don't really get into his hallucination as much as we see the hilarious effects of it, starts having a very meaningful and enjoyable conversation with his bonsai tree. He laughs a lot, a thing we've been missing. Jet's laughter. Just not enough of that in this show. Right?
I love that what makes him laugh is ponderance over philosophical conundrums of our time.
It's very funny.
It's like very like, haha, that is true. You've bested me, myself, with your argument. It's like very
I enjoy that.
New Yorker.
Yes. I also enjoy the cliche of it. But the way that it's the Jet cliche. Like Jet is himself a kind of cliche. So
he's just a big nerd is what it is.
Yeah, he got to talk about what's the universe mean, man.
Yeah.
You know, it's very funny. Ed surmises from these experiments, these are bad mushrooms.
Yeah, it's like she gets no new information here.
Well, you know, she's right. So then decides I may as well watch Big Shot, right? So we get another episode of Big Shot, the bounty hunter show. In that, Domino Walker is mentioned as a bounty head, and Ed's like, why don't I just do a bounty? And it's like, oh my God, that was always an option. Incredible.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect.
So Ed sprints out on what can safely be described as a prototypical bird, you know, like one of those bird scooters, you know, the 45-year-old man speaking. Turned 100.
Electronic razor scooter.
As soon as I saw him, I turned 100, and that's what it reminded me of. Edward just bird scooting out there, flying through the desolate landscape after this man. That attracts the attention of Coffee and Shaft, who both chase after her, and now we got ourselves a third act chase, right? Which is the best. The hit and run ship, I think they find it before they actually get on the train, right? I think that's right. They find that Domino's
before they get on the train.
Domino's in
and
the ship.
It's Domino's ship, and he's got all the mushrooms in there and stuff.
Turns out he was the one who hit the Bebop earlier. Turns out, and he narrates this to himself, which made me laugh. Turns out he's been growing all this bullshit in the ship.
That's totally what would happen in space.
Sure, space shrooms
grow,
of course,
stuff.
Who can argue with that? Edward uses her first of many tools that are amazing, stinky gas, to subdue him. You know.
Also, like, hisses and
Yeah.
rears.
Yeah. She's a good bounty hunter. I'm enjoying her tools here, you know.
Chaotic.
He runs away, she chases after him, he gets to a train. They get cut off while he jumps on. Shaft and Coffee get to the train. So then Ed and Ein, of course, catch up, and it's sort of a cat and mouse thing. They're launching gas canisters at each other and stuff. The train ride, Shaft and Coffee don't get too much runtime here because they get sort of tossed off when Ed and Ein run over them, and then Ein bites one of the bags that Domino Walker's running around with mushrooms. The bag hits Shaft. Shaft falls into Coffee's car, and the car sort of blows up.
It looked like they died.
It looked like they died. They cut to the two of them on top of each other, like, oh, and you're like, okay, so I guess they're fine because of cartoon rules.
This is the cost of Ed, you know?
Yeah.
Just
a lot of cartoon devastation.
Carnage on the highway.
Yeah. So as every train chase does, they work their way to the front of the train and then fly off as the train hits brakes because they're about to hit a cow. The train comes very close to hitting a cow. Domino falls on the tracks and Edward right on top of Domino, and he's like, please, I'll do anything. Please don't take me in.
It's almost if it was divine.
Yeah.
You know, like the train on rails stops right before to save the cow.
Right.
The innocent, but in between is the criminal and Ed, as always. Ed, this protector of justice.
This 80-pound child sits on this man, and he's like, this is it for me. I'll tell you what, I'll give you this bag of hundreds of thousands of dollar mushrooms.
Please just get away from me.
Or you can turn in my bounty. So Ed's like, yeah, mushrooms. She takes the mushrooms.
Which is like
incredible.
all time, like criminal, like he gets away.
Yeah, he gets away. I mean, this may be why Ed has never been on a bounty hunt before.
Didn't due diligence.
Yeah, didn't see it all the way through. So Ed takes back the mushrooms to her hungover crewmates, and the officers show up right as Edward shows up with the bag, and Spike is literally holding it. It's like this bag full of, in theory, hundreds of thousands of drug mushrooms, and the officers do a quick test, and it's like, no, you're good. These are shiitake mushrooms. That's all. And they walk away, and then
weirdos having a bag full of normal mushrooms.
Yeah, I'm not even worried about this could have been drugs and would be packaged like drugs because it's shiitakes. You guys are weird.
Yeah.
And then we cut to presumably night 50 of them having eaten all these mushrooms in many dishes. Sad with no money yet again.
Yep, because it's not about being hungry. They can be hungry. They can be full. They're just despicable, sad people who are never going to be happy. That's the point here. And even in all their hallucinatory reveling in the majesty of the universe, as one would do if they've ever taken, psilocybin or whatever.
Yeah.
Like that. Even that won't change them.
No, nothing will take away their selfishness and their unhappiness.
It's just a cosmic jumbo.
It is. Abe, it's time for us to push the sky.
Apt and astute, as always.
Hopefully entertainingly rendered.
Yeah. You dialed it in, baby. So this is the section where Adam and I both choose to, one aspect of the session's execution, either dissect it because we like it. Usually it's that. So this one, I'm going to use my 5 minutes to talk about wide spaces and flat shots. The sky is in nearly every shot of this when we're on IO. I'm only really speaking of the IO stuff, although it does. We find ourselves into a strategic kind of composition that does bleed back into the drug montages. But the sky's in every shot, and I just want to point out what that actually does to frame. You can put stuff in between the sky, but like the sky is oblivion. A sky is wide, endless like distance, right? So it might as well be a flat wall. It's flat. There's clouds, sure, there's stuff on the wall, but ultimately, depth is not the game we're playing with, and that's the game he plays with, which is the wideness of the landscapes have that effect. So even if you're looking up or down, you don't really get geography. It flattens the canvas. It also means that profile shots start being activated because it's like, how do we keep this not always being flat? Well, why don't we do off to the side? We don't want to do 3/4 though, because that might imply, a little bit of depth because we have to imply like directionality now. So let's keep it pretty simple. And so that's why some of this, like the framing of this episode kind of feels like a Wes Anderson thing, right?
It does. It's very whimsical like that.
Yeah. It also, if you're doing profiles and you're doing flat shots on your subjects for almost all of the thing, it means that your directionality of the scene on the surface is across, right? If you were to do an overhead of almost every scene, that's the two axes that they use, straight on or perpendicular. And because there's no quarter angles in this, meaning like a 3/4 or even a 1/4 short frame, that's unique for Bebop. Bebop likes to play in the diagonals, and the quarter angles in this episode are reserved for members of the Bebop when they talk to themselves. Notice the drug thing or the drug montage where like always a flat shot of witness Faye, witness Spike in their drugginess, and then cuts to usually Ed watching that in an equally flat shot, and then it's usually the end of the scene is a 3/4 shot where Ed goes like, that you on drugs, it's like always to an aside to oneself. And so because of this, it become like the sequence where because of this, basically what we're trying to say is like everything is a proscenium, right? It's all a theater for me, which makes sense for Ed because Ed is fairly curious about the world.
Yep.
Just kind of navigating the space saying like, what's that? What's that? What's that? That's kind of youth. And I thought that was kind of cool for the one episode that is about Ed doing the actual bounty.
Yep.
It's like she's watching it like a pilgrim, like an outsider, and I like that. So that was my observation.
I love that.
Kudos to you, Watanabe.
I actually wanted to build on that because mine is what I would call the Edwardification of Bebop. This is as you said, the only episode where Edward drives the bounty. There's other episodes where Edward has a line of inquiry, usually via the internet or whatever, that contributes.
It's a team thing.
Yeah. I think there's a computer one later that's coming that's also an Edward episode. But this one, it's like, no, we took the entire cast out and it's just Edward doing the actual activity. So what changes when that's true? The first thing is that we got to find as many ways to heighten reality as we can. Right. So like, and some of those things aren't directly caused by Edward, but I think they build to an Edward experience. One thing is the heat. The heat is extremely transformative on this planet as opposed to any other place. Even though we've been in hot places before, we got all kinds of distortions visually, like heat lines and stuff like that. And also desaturated colors in the heat. Right.
Yeah,
so that's exaggerated in a way that feels
Drab.
very Edwardy. Tons of Dutch angles, lots and lots of subtle Dutch angles in this. That happens during the experiments she does on Spike and Faye and Jet. Also during a lot of the car stuff, we have these unexpected Dutch angles, which, just a fun way to heighten the experience of a fairly standard car chase for Bebop. There are tons of speed up and slow down things that you don't think about, but they happen in this very impressionistic way. Particularly when we meet Coffee, there's this strange sort of like slowed down thing when she hands over the money and we see the picture of Domino Walker that suggests Edward's fascination, right? Edward being intrigued by this figure and like the cool mystery that she poses. And there's not a lot of this speed ramping stuff in Bebop. They usually do it pretty meaningfully. This time I attach it to Edward's point of view. Tons of low angle stuff, tons of shots that are at the foot level. because Edward, more often than not, is not fully upright. Edward is almost feral. So, like, she's often at Ein's level. So we see a lot of things from Ein's point of view or foot level. Also, I would say the kinds of characters that Edward runs into are very heightened or exaggerated. And you wouldn't run into Coffee or Shaft or Domino Walker if any of the other three characters were involved.
Yeah, there's a silliness that the blaxploitation arc is kind of portrayed as.
That's
like
right.
kind of like everything's like everyone's taking themselves seriously, but their coffins are getting run over. They have heightened versions of like, I will do this as a feud for my brother, you know, especially in the case of Shaft. Less so with Coffee, Foxy Brown. Like that stuff seems all intentional, I think.
They do. Oh, it's completely intentional. I think it only fits with an Edward episode.
Right.
You
the
know,
stakes need to be low for Edward to have fun and roll around.
These are characters that are as flat as the lens choices that you said, right? Like, so the character work's also flattened out. Now, one thing that you didn't mention is they do some of the most exaggerated wide-angle lens stuff for the actual chases.
Like, do you mean lensing
yes,
and pinholing?
Yes, the lensing and pinhole. Like, there's a lot of warping almost at a fisheye level with some of the chasing stuff, particularly when Edward starts going fast. It gets, like, real exaggerated, and that's really fun. I also thought this sort of fit in Edward's space. The drug dealer explaining to himself why he does why he cooks drugs and grows mushrooms in his ship. Yeah. Felt like only in an Edward episode could you get away with that, you know?
Could you get like the villain is a guy who's growing mushrooms, but also is like vindicated. Like he feels vindicated about it. He's a little vindictive about everyone else. Like, how dare you question my freedom?
There's almost a sense in which he like sort of singing to himself. This like he's so pleased with himself about his villainy that it's like a Tom Bombadil type figure, you know.
A little bit.
Yeah, those things all add up to an episode that is absurd with the same core mechanics of any Bebop experience, but one that's distinctly Edward. Right, where things are more over the top and there's less depth here than normal. It's about the fun of it. It's about the expressive experience of it and the impressionistic experience of it, which is how Ed experiences chasing a bounty, you know. And I think it's a cool way of filmmaking, telescoping the depth of the show for the immediate emotional experience of the character, and that's pretty fun.
Yeah, fantastic. Yeah, I think that spot on. There's a reason why, like, both of us attached ourselves to like kind of the proscenium and like showmanship of this,
100%,
as being like kind of a witness. And I think that plays into the kind of theme of where we're going to go. Let's talk about that for the last 15 minutes. In this segment, we're going to call "You're Gonna Carry That Weight."
I love the choral stuff in this show. I know, I love it. I love it so much.
Every time I listen to this podcast, I kind of go like, I'm just gonna stick around for the bangers. You know, like I don't care about these two fuckers.
Yeah.
And then I turn it off, and then I go listen on YouTube to the OST.
Why not?
So go do that right now. Take this opportunity to pause the
listening to
podcast.
Us podcasting.
No, you're gonna want to just wait 1 second, please. We got some good things to say because this is a fairly important one that I want to talk to you about.
I'm excited.
Ed, because we talk about how Ed saves the day.
Yeah.
And I want to talk about like the intermediate res of where we start.
Yeah.
Failure, where we end. Failure. Not failure in terms of they aren't persisting, right? They're begrudgingly grateful at the end for discount mushrooms to eat. That's the picture, right? It's that they're not thriving. Survival is the MO of Bebop. They're always scraping by the skin of their teeth. And Ed represents the creative. Ed represents the new, even though they're all newly kind of conjoined. Ed is literally the youngest, and she's not really interested in survival. Because she did it herself on Earth for probably 5 to 10 years. Like, she took care of herself, right?
Yeah.
So she knows how to like persist. So that's not really her problem.
There is a type of person in the world where it seems like external circumstances sort of congeal in a way that makes their life make sense more than their choices add up.
Right.
That's the kind of person Edward is, where, Edward persisted, but also Edward isn't Spike. Spike's a person who has intuition that's very potent and guides him somewhere.
Almost magical, yeah.
Edward is chaotic, but it sort of coalesces in a way that's good enough for her.
Which is interesting because she speaks the language of machines, the language of the universe at this point. So she is actually more down to earth in terms of like, to steal that weird phrase in this context, in terms of like, I am actually of the now, you are of the past. You're guns and cowboys and nonsense. I'm a hacker. I'm literally like,
I am the future, or the present, or whatever.
And because of her youth, she's not downtrodden by experience that all the others have. She kind of represents always in this show the hopeful. Like, I would say in her way, not really worried about the next meal, but like relative to the other Bebop pilgrims.
She's never doing anything because the stakes press on her. She's only ever doing something because she finds it interesting or entertaining.
Which I think is thematically relevant given where we're all going.
Yeah.
These transients, this Bebop that's soaring the skies. Like, for all the Ed staining that we've done, like, she's kind of woefully inept to basic things like business, like taking the mushrooms at the end, simple stranger danger. She's a young kid. For all her maturity and talent, she's not really that good at some stuff, and which is fine because she's a child still. But she definitely needs a few more years with the Guardians, with a Guardian, and that's the sauce to me about this episode, is that Ed grew up in a desert.
Yeah.
The episode that this is also looks like a desert.
This is closer to home for her, right?
Ed needs to get to an oasis to grow, to be nurtured, and Bebop is almost it.
Yeah.
But it's just a liminal space because they are ghosts, Yeah.
I would say this season has a check-in with every character about have they changed or progressed at all from when we met them. Right? And I would say Edward hasn't necessarily become more capable, because Edward was always really capable and disruptive, right? But I think Edward is now also capable of saving the day should the circumstance arise. And that's, I think, different than where she started.
Yeah.
Right? Like, Edward has to take some responsibility for her colleagues in this episode, and doesn't do it in this rational way, but she does do it in like an Edward way that's more grounded than a lot of other shit she does. So I think in the same way that the episode before this, when we learned that Faye actually doesn't know what her past is and is on the run from medical creditors, here I think we're getting like, there's been some transmutation of responsibility, understanding, like emotional capability to Edward that's very subtle, but is what makes her capable of this episode. You would never have wanted to watch this in season 1. Like, you needed a little time with Edward to be ready for Mushroom Samba.
To be kind of background.
Yeah. Well, and to have to be ready for so what's been up with her? How's this all been impacting her? Because sometimes she's very childlike in a way that's very endearing and precious, and sometimes she's way ahead of them, like, you dipshits. I know the answer because I already know how everything works. Right, and this is a really nice fusion of the two, I think.
transformation, we've talked about it so many times. It's almost like it's the point of Bebop.
Yeah.
I forget where, like, I just got this quote, like paraphrase quote that I have in my brain. I don't know who said it, but just the idea of like, if you are searching for identity or who you are, you know, think of, you're mixing all these colors, right? You have white, you grab a little bit of blue, a little bit of green, a little brown, and you keep matting it to a central splotch, right? And you're mixing the color, and everyone thinks that you are essentially that color, right? The mixing of all the things that you had in your past. But think of yourself as you are the brush, right? It's the idea is that you are the active participant in this. I think this is the failure of Bebop 2, Ed, is that and which is why she's going to leave, because she's the brush. She needs to become the person making the decisions.
Be an agent.
She's still cooking and she's still observing and learning things from Bebop. But the Bebop observation is one that is of a cruel world, of one that is out to get you, that feels like justice is almost unattainable at times. And you're striving for it, which is a good aim. That's a good thing to impart to Ed. But at the same time, they are so kind of broken by it that until they cross their own personal like therapy bridges, they're never going to be able to see the light. Ed is ad hoc already seen light, and it's just that's why she's impervious to all their downtrodden sullen observations about men and women and justice and good and bad and white hat black hat stuff.
She has not one surly bone in her body, and I that's on like a just how do you cast a show. Like, there's a reason you need Kramer for the rest of Seinfeld. You know what I mean? Because it just sort of makes
Bender bending Rodriguez.
Yeah, you know, like you need that character that kind of adds joy and chaos to an otherwise pretty orderly group of people. You know, and I wouldn't call these people in Bebop orderly per se, but they all have a kind of world that they are in the same,
a shared
and Edward doesn't have
delusion,
and it humanizes them in a way, you know. Yeah, I also was thinking as you were talking, like, it's been a pretty long time since we had a Spike episode at this point. It's been like 4 or 5 episodes.
Spike gets the
Batman one, Pierre LeFou.
The show and lights gets the headliner, you know, episodes.
Yeah.
So it's like, let's let everyone else take a bat.
Which I don't mind. There's only like 2 or 3 Spike-centric episodes left before the finale. You know, like the finale is a 2-parter and it's great.
Oh, I mean, this is 17 and we're up 26. So there's, I think, only 1 or 2.
There's the Cowboy one. There's the Cowboy Pierre LeFou, right? That one's so good. Yeah.
Oh, baby.
That one's amazing. Yeah. That's one that people who love Cowboy Bebop visually just get real excited for.
It's basically their attempt to do Batman the Animated Series, and they fucking kill it.
Yeah, it's so good. Yeah, it's amazing.
It's so good. The film noir stark contrast, and just an idea. Why are we talking about this?
Because
we're gonna have a whole episode about it.
I have no problem with an Edward episode. I have no problem with Bebop. I am just noticing as a watcher, like, this is a long time for an episode away from the point of view that really grounded the first season. You know?
Because it's almost like a lot of people, when they get into Bebop, they hit Ballad of Fallen Angels
and
around
like,
5.
Holy shit.
And you go, oh, this anime is about this guy's like retribution of self and also revenge against the Syndicate. It feels like it's a Final Fantasy plot where it's like you're gonna take on the man, and then, like Final Fantasy often does, most of the time you're just doing side quests.
How dare you? Final Fantasy is no Cowboy Bebop, in my opinion. I don't care about you, and you're such a Cloud boy. You love Cloud. You love him. You love Cloud. You love Sephiroth. You're just.
I
love
like. Here's the thing. When I was about 14, I decided, look, the best person to be is Sephiroth. So I'm going to model which is why I dress the way I dress, which is why I carry a
gigantic
thin sword.
Huge
and it's also
sword.
why I talk about my mom most of the time.
Yeah, and you talk in obscure riddles that are like, hey man, can you just, what do you want for lunch is all I asked you.
Is it all a dream, man?
All right. We did it.
I mean, that's another episode. Down the hatch.
Yeah, it is.
Like so many mushrooms getting in the goal divine.
I don't hate mushrooms. I'm okay with them.
They smell like shit.
Mm.
But who am I but a farm boy
but
longing to dream
a shit
of an
expert.
expansive universe? Yeah, no, get me out of here. Let's get the fuck out of here.
Alright.
Let's go off world,
Okay.
man. Love you.
Love you.
Oh, actually, before we go,
Oh.
before you shut down the episode, because it's timely and relevant. For the last month, we've been doing this new tier here at patreon.com/smallbeans. So if you're listening out on the free feed, you can give us a few dollars. Specifically, if you give us $15, we're going to get like an additional 30% of content every week. And by that, I mean a piece of content a week.
Nice.
Every week. That's just for you. It's going to be, you should check it out because it's going to be more frame rates. We're going to talk a lot more TV. There's also going to be Swaim videos there. There's going to be a new show called Beans Talk, which I think we're probably on a second episode of by now, where we just talk about whatever we want. And it's Adam.
The first one went great.
I and Michael. Yeah. Very excited about the new Beandom.
Easy.
Come in. The beans are fine.
Yeah, that is what we say around here.
Anything you got?
No. I just want everyone to make a shirt. Come in. The beans are fine.
The beans are fine. Let's get at it. All right. Let's say 3, 2, 1.
Lovely.
Lovely.
All right.
Get up.